Rats me and he also plays bass. Mark out sewage all over the place. Bob sits on his ass and he draws. Chris thinks people really suck. Mark points at raccoons and ducks. Bob sits on his ass and he blogs about things that probably don't exist. It's Mightiest Bastards.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Earth's Mightiest Bastards vlog. I am Mark Storrs and with me as always is
Chris Carnicelli.
And
Rob Morphy.
Today on our vlog we're going to be talking about, I'm going to say probably one of my favorite Netflix releases to date, and that is going to be Stranger Things.
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
For me, this kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't see any
No fanfare, nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
No
ads, no.
nothing leading
The
up
biggest
to it.
word of mouth campaign I've seen since the original Blair Witch.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, you
Yeah.
don't hear about it, you don't know about it, and then all of a sudden you're getting people from different camps telling you have to see this, you
Yeah.
gotta see this, and you're like, all right, these motherfuckers know me.
Yeah.
They know what I like, and they're telling me to
Fudgers.
see it. That's right. Stay classy. And so I was excited because I was like, all right, well, what's the deal? And it is like the finest homage to 80s sci-fi and horror
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
like if Dean Koontz, Stephen King got together to write a script, they hired Carpenter to score it, they hired Spielberg to direct a bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
And you know, Joe Dante to consult. I mean, it's literally, you got Explorers, you've got Goonies, you've got Stand By Me, you've got on and on the loving homages that this pays to, but it's really an original
Yeah.
story by the
Yeah.
Duffer Brothers, who I have never heard of.
No, me either in my life.
Like, they come out of nowhere and blow our collective minds.
Yeah.
I was, the first episode, I'll be honest, I was a little bit on the fence. I'm like, well, I don't know about this. But after the second episode, I was completely drawn in.
Really, I love the
Oh,
first
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, me too. It sucked me in.
I eventually
instantly.
went back and I rewatched the first episode. I've watched it twice, the entire series twice. And, I just can't believe how good it is. Like, it really...
There's no lag time. I mean, and
No,
what it
it's
feels
not.
like,
No,
it is
doesn't
not
know.
a series so much as an 8-hour movie.
The pacing is
Yeah, yeah.
perfect.
It's incredible.
It has fantastic pacing. The
And it captures-
cinematography is great.
Well, the cinematography is great
Yes.
because it really, they're paying homage to the 80s again. I mean, E.T., all these other movies that I mentioned
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And they're doing the cinematography in the style of that era.
Oh, they absolutely
But at
did.
the same time, letting the
Yeah.
drama play off more naturalistically than it ever did in the 80s. Because the 80s was all about these cliches coming together and doing things.
Yeah.
This feels like real kids that were based on the cliches, or vice versa.
Absolutely. They would
that the
actually
cliches were based on.
kind of do what they would normally
Have
that
done.
you would have done.
Playing
Yeah.
D&D, hanging out with their buddies,
Yeah,
the older
hiding-
sister's too cool
Yeah.
for all that.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't seen Stranger Things, obviously stop watching the vlog, go see that, and then come back, because we're going to
Yeah.
talk about spoilers.
Absolutely.
What really got me about this, and I'm a complete conspiracy nut if you listen to our
Oh, boy.
podcast at enbpod.com.
Billy Reptile.
Yeah, I'm all
Billy
about
Reptile.
reptilians. But this is based on a girl who was a part of the Project MKUltra.
Yeah.
Who-
Which is the CIA project from
Yeah.
the 60s to brainwash using psychedelics.
Yes, exactly. And there's different deprivation tank scenarios and basically turning kids into
Telepathic war
telepathic assassins,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Or remote viewers.
So, yes.
Which she was both.
Yeah.
She was, yeah. And what ends up happening that you kind of discover as you're watching the series is that she reaches a point where she's in between realities,
Like an alternate dimension.
like almost like altered states.
Well, Altered States is just one of the many movies
Yeah.
it pays homage to.
And she makes contact with
But while she's spying
A creature.
on Russians, she ends up in this netherworld that they call the Upside Down, which is a
Yeah.
really dark, grim...
the Veil of Shadows, if you will.
The Veil of Shadows.
Yeah.
If
Then
you're
you got the
into
D&D
D&D.
reference.
Yeah. And she contacts another species, a predatory species, which pays loving homage to John Carpenter's The Thing, among other things. And and that's not what she's supposed to find, and it follows her back. And then the resulting chaos when this thing breaks through the dimensional barrier,
Yeah.
it just sends this whole town topsy-turvy after one of the kids that's one of the lead kids in the beginning you see playing Dungeons & Dragons goes missing. And then the whole rest of the story, kind of like Twin Peaks, where it's like who killed...
it's what
Yeah, it's trying to
what
drive
happened,
like that.
yeah.
Who
What
killed
happened
who?
to the kid, yeah.
Laura Palmer.
Laura Palmer.
Laura Palmer.
Oh, in Twin
So
Peaks? Yeah,
yes, so
Laura
this one is where is Will, and you're just the whole series is basically
What happened to
about
him?
the family trying to recover him,
Yeah.
people thinking he's dead, what's going on, what this government conspiracy is, who's covering up what this interdimensional predator
And
is.
and it takes a bit to get there before
Yeah.
it's just like a weird thing.
Yeah.
And it's not fast. I mean, everyone kind of clicks. The girl that has the powers is separate, but it's only like second or third episode before everyone starts connecting.
Yeah, they coalesce in a really fascinating
and
way.
it never goes where you think it's gonna go. Like at first,
It's not predictable.
the girl goes like to the diner and befriends like the head chef, and I'm like, all right,
All right,
so
so
maybe at the
something
end,
happened here.
end of this, maybe
Yeah.
she's gonna
Yeah.
get whatever. No, died.
No.
Yeah, he
No,
dies.
good.
Yeah,
Not
and
good.
that's
No.
another good thing about this is because it gets pretty brutal.
It does,
So
and it's
like,
violent and scary. If I was a
It's
kid, I would have been
brutal,
terrified
yeah.
by this
Yeah.
creature and the things that, and an alternate reality that they explore. But it interconnects the characters in a fascinating way that feels very natural.
Yeah.
It captures that small town zeitgeist, that vibe you get of like a group of loyal friends, like say in E.T. or Goonies or any of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And it brings it in a much more realistic and intense way than
Mm.
any of the 80s movies ever got to.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
And so it's excellent. It's not only a loving homage, but it's a great, gripping roller coaster ride with really engaging characters. Winona Ryder's great. The guy who played the sheriff is excellent.
Yeah.
All these characters. Matthew Modine. How often are you going to hear us talking about him?
I thought.
Well
when
done, sir.
When I first saw Matthew Modine, I thought, is that Cronenberg? Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, is that really? Is that
yeah,
Cronenberg? And
He's
then,
glasses
it's not
free,
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he doesn't get much, but it's everyone's pretty solid in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a good ride.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel nostalgic for it. You know what it felt like? It felt like a book I grew up loving that I had never read. And that's what I love about it.
I felt. You know what it felt like? It felt like they tried. It's like they remade Amazing Stories as a movie
Yeah.
for an adult.
Yeah. And one story.
That's what it like felt
Yeah.
to me. Like this is what
It's
we're
true. No, I would definitely say let's talk about the influence we see, like Altered States.
Yeah.
Definitely early Spielberg.
Absolutely.
Definitely John Carpenter in the score and somewhat in the shooting.
Dude,
Joe Dante
would've
absolutely
even
explores.
even if the entire thing was just like okay,
Right.
the score would have made me
Oh,
like
the
it,
score-
still like
The score
it.
alone was
If you
Score's
love
amazing.
early
So
Carpenter,
good.
anything
Yeah.
from Halloween
Yeah.
through The Fog, Escape from New York, even up to Starman, this is going to
Yeah.
completely satisfy.
Oh,
And it's and you're gonna see wood paneling, and you're gonna see 80s
Yeah.
fashion, and you're gonna see bad
Will's
hair.
house is awful.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
it's terrible.
It's a nightmare paneling.
Really bad.
You're gonna be reintroduced to the Clash in a way that'll make you feel heartwarmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's really a good ride, and
No.
you're gonna really care about these people, and you're not going to be disappointed.
And
at
you
the
know,
end,
they,
like a lot
they
of
hit
series.
they actually hit the nostalgia note the right way, where it wasn't a forced nostalgia.
No,
It felt so natural.
Yeah.
And everything flowed so well that you weren't like, oh, this is Netflix trying to call back to like an ET or a thing. Or
no, it wasn't
things.
heavy-handed
Well,
at all.
no,
No,
well,
it was done
like, took
really
itself
well.
serious, and it's very important.
That's important.
Yeah, it was
You
very
gotta
serious.
mean
yeah.
it.
Because we lived in the 80s, so it was like the way people act in the
We
80s.
lived in the 80s,
not the way
yeah.
movies
No.
in the 80s
Well,
showed people
we were
acting.
that age in the 80s.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
So
no.
it's
Yeah, I was a
Makes a
little bit
difference.
younger
Yeah.
than you guys, but no, all the references I got, even just the kids being at like their friend's house and riding home their bikes.
Sure.
D&D, like that was
That doesn't
a
happen
good
anymore.
majority of my childhood. So.
No, if you have even the slightest soft spot for old school horror, especially Stephen King style or Dean R. Koontz or just you know the movies and TV shows that permeated that era, and you want to see something that's thrilling, sci-fi, smart with characters that can engage
and not
you.
even just old school. I mean, it's
No, if you don't
It's
even
a
give us if you
decent-
don't give a red
yeah.
rat's rump about the 80s, you're still going to enjoy
Yeah,
this because it's
absolutely.
well written and
Yeah.
smart.
yeah.
So it gets my highest recommendation.
No, it's not dated. It doesn't use cliche dated.
No.
It's not like the dudes are like, dude, that was rad.
Yeah.
Or that was,
And it was sort of like
Cowboy,
the way Pacific Rim created a future technology that felt lived in. It was an 80s that was lived in.
Yeah.
Not a pristine
Yeah.
like nod to the 80s, but an 80s that we all remember
No, yeah.
experiencing.
So the series ends on kind of a.
You
we're
talking
not
the denouement
sure
here?
what's going to happen. The denouement.
Yeah, a
We're
little
not
bit of a
quite
dark note,
sure
but not
what's
grim.
going to happen. Our psychic female hero 11 is
Yeah.
maybe in the Upside Down, maybe in the Shadow Vale. No one really knows where she is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a little weird. That ending.
But there's a scene that's kind of interesting where our sheriff, the hero of the sheriff, goes into the woods where there's a little box where he leaves
Some
her-
Eggo waffles and
Eggo
chicken wings.
waffles
So,
and
yeah.
chicken wings.
Yeah.
So,
Now we saw her battle. What do they call it? The creature, the Demogorg or
Demigorgon.
The
The
Demigorgon,
Demogorgon,
yeah. And she basically banishes it from this reality into its own reality.
And goes with it.
Kind of makes me think that she's in that reality with the Demogorgon.
It's kind of what they
So
lead you to
maybe
believe.
she comes back, maybe she doesn't.
Well, they say they're making another series. Now,
Making
my
another
first thought was
series,
it was
yeah.
going to be a Halloween 3 scenario where they're going to deal with a new set of characters and a new set
yeah,
of
I thought it was going to be an anthology too.
But
No,
what
I
I've
think
read
this
is
is
that
gonna
they're
be
dealing
a
with the
sequel,
same
yeah.
characters, and
Yeah.
we'll see what time frame it happens. We'll
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what's going down. But I would definitely be interested to see what happens next and how they can keep up this energy and originality. I have no
Because
idea.
it looks like Will brought something back from the Upside Down.
Well, he was infected by something.
Clearly.
in the Upside Down.
Something.
It wasn't clear if he's not possessed, but is he just not telling them what happened? Because they clearly showed
Right.
him coughing out
Yeah,
these
he's calling it
blood.
a giant
So
slug,
is he
yeah.
like
Yeah.
compromised,
I
or is
feel-
he just too scared?
I feel like he just doesn't
He's
want to
just
bring
hiding,
everyone
right.
down. Yeah, that's my
they
thought.
They don't really go there.
So I'm hoping that this is going to be a regular series from Netflix. If they do a 3-parter, they break and then they go into a whole different story with a bunch of different kids. That's fine. But I want to continue to see this on.
Yeah, I do.
Netflix.
I mean, I've
absolutely.
grown to be really affectionate
Absolutely.
with all of the characters, literally all of them.
Yeah.
From Winona Ryder to the sheriff
Yeah,
to
there's
the kids.
not really a weak spot.
No, there's not.
No.
There's not somebody that almost every ensemble cast you have somebody where like Game of Thrones even you have people that I just don't give rat's rumps about. But
Yeah.
this one I cared about every group of people and what happened. And
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
Same.
So watch it. Watch it immediately.
Solid.
It's all there on
Yeah.
Netflix. It's 8 episodes,
Solid.
and every one of them is a gem.
And
So
you,
do it,
You're going to get to the end and be like, damn it, I need more.
and you'll get more. Hopefully, it'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. So is that going to do it?
That should do it.
All right,
Fucking
there you
watch
have
it.
it. There you go. Watch it. The Earth's Mightiest Bastards highly recommends Stranger Things on Netflix.
11 thumbs up.
11. How many hands is that?
Dude, don't even worry. More than we have. This is not my
I mean, 'cause
concern.
if you have 11, but you
It's
got
2 hands and then just one finger.
2 big toes.
2 hands and a finger.
two hands,
2 hands and a finger up.
for thumbs.
That 11. Well, not. I'm counting every finger as a thumb.
No,
Every finger is a thumb when it comes to this.
And that's what I'm saying.
Nice.
Otherwise, it would be like 6 hands minimum.
It'd be the 6
Just
hands
watch
and
it.
one
Just,
thumb, yeah.
just watch
Yeah.
it. Just watch it.
So thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Earth's Mightiest Bastards vlog. You can find us online at enbpod.com. We are a weekly podcast that you can find at enbpod.com.
Absolutely.
iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Be sure to subscribe to all those different outlets to get our podcast.
Outlets.
And yeah, that's going to do it. So we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.
Word. Get Netflix. Get Netflix now.
Earth's mightiest bastards. Earth's mightiest bastards. We might not know more than you, but now that we think about it, I think we